Afternoon, Cherries fans, and welcome to the latest in our opposition preview shows here at Up the Cherries in all departments. After overcoming a resilient Birmingham at St Andrews, we return to Dean Court to face promoted Blackpool, who are back in the Championship after 6 turbulent years. To preview the game, it is a pleasure to welcome onto the show Lee from Lee Charles TV. How are you doing, Lee? Good to have you on.
I'm absolutely fine. Can't wait to play Bournemouth. It sounds like we're going to get absolutely battered, but it's great. We are over the moon that we're back kind of where we were. We're back to square one. It kind of feels with Blackpool fans. We've been to hell and back, and we're back, and we can draw a line underneath the hell that we've been through. So we're pretty happy just to be in the Championship. We know we're everybody's favourites to go down. A lot of Blackpool fans, we're thinking we could shock everybody and do a double promotion, but I don't think, judging on the first 3 games, that's not going to be the case. I don't think we're going to be hanging on by our fingernails if we manage to stay in, but at least we've managed to get back in here, and it didn't take us 30 years this time like it did the previous time we dropped out of the second division into the lower leagues, when it was then where Blackpool fans just thought they'd be back a year later, and it took us 30 years to get back. 30 years. It's a long time.
It is. Yeah. It's well, just thinking about it, it took us just shy of 20 to get back into second tier, so I can reason with you there, although I was very, very young when of course Bournemouth were in there under Harry Redknapp. But it is great to see Blackpool back in the Championship. I was absolutely delighted when you went up because of the story that you've had getting into Premier League, what's happened since, and like you say, it's been a journey since you were last here. What happened, Lee?
How long have you got?
However long you want.
How long have you got? Right. Well, everybody knows the story, really. Blackpool getting in the Championship. It came unexpectedly. It's a bit of a funny story, really, because we had the Oystons as owners for years and years and years. They were hated back then. They never really spent any money. They were the best sweet talkers in the business, if you know what I mean. Owen Oyston was, very flamboyant and very charming, and we'd always, we had all these things that we were going to have a new ground with a pitch that slid out, long before it was even a possibility. All these things were in the papers, new training facilities, all that. Nothing ever materialized. And what they did as a masterstroke is they got a guy called Valeri Belakon, who was a Latvian banker, and they brought him in as a sort of minority shareholder. Now, when he came in, this guy was ambitious, and he came in and he said, basically, in his opening statement to all the fans, he said, I'm here, I'm really excited about, getting involved with Blackpool. I'm going to get you in the Premier League within 5 years. This was his opening line to us. And I just said to my dad at the time, my dad was alive, I just said, is he having a laugh? Premier League in 5 years? You guys, is he having a giraffe? What on earth is going on here? There's more chance of bloody me platting fog than there's going into Premier League in 5 years. We've been at this for 30 years. Can't get. Anyway, he did it in 4. He did it in 4 years, and what he did was he invested in good players. A lot of those players, he bought Charlie Adam. We brought David Vaughan in, DJ Campbell, Ian Evatt as he was like the first statement of intent. I remember when Ian Evatt came to Blackpool, and came to centre. You just looked at him. Jesus, this guy's a mountain. You know what I mean? Who the hell is this? And then he brought Kasper Gorks in. We got him from Latvia. He went on, obviously, to play for QPR. He was amazing. In fact, when he played against us a couple of years later, I thought, God, we could never afford Kasper Gorks. He's just too good. He's just out of our budget. But we got him on a free. And just, we had this feeling at the time that there's this big Latvian connection. There's going to be a pipeline of Latvian players coming in. Anyway, he gets us in the Premier League. He gets us promoted first of all into the Championship, and then obviously a couple of years later into the Premier League, when we were bookies' favourites to go down on that season. And it's there's a funny story actually on what I interviewed who was it now? It might have been, I can't remember which player it was that he interviewed, but Holloway offered Blackpool a bonus to get promoted into the Premier League, but they couldn't have any. The deal was they weren't allowed like any bonuses. There was no match bonuses for playing, nothing like that. But there's a £5 million pot at the end if you get up. And of course, Blackpool that time were favourites to go down. You know, they were favourites to be relegated, weren't they? And
yeah.
So I'm sure the players looked at themselves and said, £5 million to get in the Premier League. You want us to take that as a deal and have no playing bonuses? And somehow Holloway charmed him into it. And of course they did it, didn't they? You know, they got this £5 million bonus. So we get in the Premier League, we win the golden ticket, don't we? It's 96 million quid. It's 48 million in the Premier League, and then it's 48 million pounds in parachute payments for the next, you know, split over 4 years. Yeah. So we've won more money than Blackpool would have ever earned in like 50 years, I would say, of being in the lower leagues. So we're cash rich, aren't we?
Yeah.
They don't spend anything going into the Premier League, really. Nothing, you know, no players. We if you remember, we actually loaned players from the Championship in the Premier League. Never been done before. Jason Punchin came from Southampton. He was on loan. Luke Varney, he was on loan. DJ Campbell, we bought him for 1.25 million, but the clause was if we got relegated, it could go for 1.25 million. So basically, he was a year loan as well. So we go into the Premier League, and we gave it a really good go, didn't we? You know, we shocked the world, really, and we should have stayed up. You know, barring diabolical refereeing decisions against us. You know, there was a table actually published in one of the papers that showed if Blackpool had got the correct decisions, we'd have finished about 8th. We were that good, but referees just stiffed us. But at the time, if I'd have owned Blackpool Football Club, I would have done the same thing. I wouldn't have spent a lot of money. I would have gone up. I would have taken all the money I could have possibly taken, and I would have had a massive war chest to make the club wonderful and to sign great players on Championship wages and go back in the Premier League. And I'd have done that over and over and over again, and never spending, always buying players in, you know, if we got relegated, I'd be looking at bringing in great players, but on like Championship wages, get back in the Premier League, get another 40 on, well, now it's 115 million in here, whatever it is. So yes, I'd be constantly trying to build a massive war chest of money until I actually could stay in the Premier League. And that's what that would be my plan. I even thought I'd actually call myself England's team, and I would have just had England players, you know, just would have been like, I'd have had a big British bulldog on me chest. You know, we are England and we're taking them on, all these foreigners, we're going to take them on. And then I got the cream of, you know, whatever was in the Championship. That's what I would have done. And I think, and I don't know whether, you know, people might disagree with me, but I think if you're bouncing, you know, staying in the Premier League and hanging in by your fingernails is not, it's not good. I mean, you know, we lost, I lost, you know, we went to Arsenal, we got beat 6-0 or something, and we cheered all the way through, saying we're going to score 7 even when we were on 6. The Arsenal fans thought we were mental. They never seen anything like it before. We're like going mental that we're 6-0 down. It was like, you just can't beat us. You're not going to beat us today. We're going to sing whatever. But I was gutted losing to Arsenal as much as I'd be gutted losing to Wickham. You know, it doesn't matter who I lose to. It doesn't matter if we were playing in the Champions League and I was beaten by Barcelona, I'd be as sick about losing to Barcelona as I'm as sick about losing to Rochdale or what. I hate losing. Hate it. I hated losing to Chelsea. I didn't go to the matches in the Premier League and think, oh, you know, wow, well, we got beat 3-0, but wasn't it great watching Chelsea? I hated Chelsea. I didn't look at Chelsea. I didn't, you know, I've always been about watching Blackpool. I've watched, you know, Blackpool since I was a little kid. My dad took me, and I don't even really see the opposition, if I'm being honest. You know, my uncle used to kind of look at the opposition and say, oh, well, their winger was this. And I just look at Blackpool, and if we're losing, we're bad. And if we're winning, we're good. Do you know what I mean? I just see how we play. And I'm either upset or I'm happy. And if we're winning, I'm happy. And if we're losing, I'm miserable. And that's how I am. And Jane can't stand it. And she said, we went to Wembley, and I was terrible. Honestly, I was hard to sit with at Wembley in that, in the finals. She said she's never sitting with me again at a final because the last 10 minutes I was going mental that we just kept giving the ball away, and their goalie was open. They had like 11 men on our pitch, and it was just hell for the last 10 minutes, and I was really bad to sit with. So she won't sit with me again. So the Oysters did kind of what I thought was right at the time. Little did I know, or little did other fans know what was going to happen when we came back down, because my plan then went out the window. The Oysters didn't have my plan at all. Immediately, it was put in the Gazette that Owen Oyston pays himself £12 million in directors' remuneration, saying that we owe it him all for all the years he's put money in, when he put fuck all in the club, really. He didn't put any money in. Honestly, we sold Brett Ormrod for 1.75 million, which would have probably paid every penny he put in anyway. But he always said he bought the club for £1 and kept us going, apparently. But so he took £12 million out, and then they just, they've been to court and they lost because the worst thing that happened. One of the things that happened at the start is, that fans could see that they were not putting money in. There's no players being bought, and we were getting progressively worse. We actually, the season we went down, we got back to the final. You probably remember we got back to play West Ham in the final, and we should have, to be honest, we battered West Ham at Wembley, and they scored with, 3 minutes to go, but it was like Blackpool had hit the post twice. It was just all Blackpool, and so we had a good season, really. They kind of kept it going, even though they took the money out, and Blackpool fans were not too grumbling because Holloway was there, and we got to another final, and we were good enough, and there was some decent signings. But it was the following season then when we went down, Blackpool were flying. We beat Leeds 5-0. We beat Middlesbrough away. We beat Middlesbrough at home 6-0. And the manager of Middlesbrough put in the Middlesbrough paper, whoever comes second to Blackpool is promoted, because they're going to walk it. And there was just some sort of fallout over, I don't know whether Holloway wanted Campbell back. We don't know exactly. But anyway, he left. He went to Crystal Palace, took Kevin Phillips with him, who scored the penalty at Wembley to get Palace in the Premier League, and things just started getting really toxic, you know what I mean? And things started going wrong. Managers, we were basically trying to get relegated out of the Championship. There was no ambition for it. They did a thing called the Riga Revolution. We had Jose Riga came in as manager, and they sold 2-year season tickets on a Riga Revolution. And I bought one of these 2-year season tickets, and I didn't even go to all the games in the first season, because I actually walked out on one game where we were like 5-0 down after about 60 minutes. I just couldn't take anymore, and I never went back, and I just withdrew my support from then. I just thought, I can't keep going. It's upsetting me. But the fans were originally sort of like demonstrating against the Oystons, so we had a few demonstrations. There was one where we had we threw tennis balls on the pitch because they couldn't stop you bringing tennis balls in. They're not a weapon. So we threw all tennis balls on the pitch, and of course the Oystons came with tennis rackets, and they were in the local Gazette with the tennis rackets on the director's thing. And there was lots of Oystons stood outside the ground with a big with one of these things on the back of a trailer saying Blackpool FC Oystons cash cow. Which, imagine, went down with the Blackpool fans really well. And then they started suing the fans for things that we'd said in the on message boards, which were basically, they were thieves. They were thieves. In fact, there was one guy who, we went to a game, it was on Sky, and the headline in the Evening Gazette, our local paper, it said like, Oyston, quote, "We are not thieves." That was like the big quote on the main page of the Gazette. And he'd gone to the match, and he'd like blacked out the "not" bit. So his paper said, Oyston, "We are thieves." And as he was going out of the ground, he just held up the paper to the Oystons in the ground, but Sky caught him doing it, and that became a big. Well, they sued him.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's just
sued him for 20-odd thousand pounds for doing that to the paper, and it was all. It's like most people settles out of court. There was Tim, who was chairman of Blackpool Supporters Trust at the time. He said that they'd been misappropriating funds, and which they actually found guilty of, but at the time he had to pay because it was libel, and you've got to have a lot of money to fight libel, so he settled for 20-odd thousand. He did, so once he started suing the fans, then we just said, we're not going anymore. You're not suing our friends and family, and we're coming to watch you. There's no chance. So we just went not a penny more, which was completely just, no more, no spending in the club shops, no going to the games. It originally started off as not spending any money in the ground, but then eventually it just came to nobody went. But a few, probably 1,000 stuck with it. So we've gone from attendances of 12,000 down to 1,000. They were getting average gates of about 1,500 with away fans. And of course, the people that, that went to those games are labeled as mushrooms because they didn't, toe the line. We had a Wembley final. If you remember, we got promoted unbelievably with the Oysters with no money spent, but we got promoted back out of the bottom division from League Two into League One. We got another Wembley promotion with no, and the fans boycotted it. We'd gone with 30,000. We went with 6, and we didn't even want 6 to go. We didn't want anybody. We didn't want any fans at all to go to Wembley, but people still, not everybody reads social media, and not everybody's knows what's going on. So some went. I didn't go. It's the only Wembley final I've not been to, and it was just really sad because we then missed 5 years of football. We didn't go for 5 years. And just to try and put it into some sort of, to make you realize what that was like. When my youngest was nearly 8, so he was 7 the last time I took him before it went not a penny more. So when he was 7, I'd be sat with him and he'd be talking about Bloomfield Bear. Obviously because he's 7 years old. I'm fascinated with this Bloomfield Bear walking around. He'd be saying to me, how does he eat, and where does he live, and how does he tie his shoes, and all these sort of questions that you get from a 7-year-old about a guy in a suit. Basically, they believe he is a big bear and everything else. And that was the last game I took him to. And then obviously when we came back, he was 13 going on 14. He's playing football for his local team. He was, he's an academy team, and he knows everything about football. And he was there going Nia Kirby, what was he doing there? And, I'm thinking to myself, bloody hell, he's not talking about Bloomfield Bear anymore, is he? You know what I mean? He's a full-grown. I'm going here with almost a man with opinions on football, and I suddenly realised, the years I've missed of taking the boys, you can never get it back. You know what I mean? You can never get those years back, and even now, we've come back. He doesn't want to sit with, he wants to go in with all the nutters now, and wants to do that sort of thing, and I get that. I don't want to be with his dad. He'll come back to me when he grows out of that. He'll start going with his dad again. But for now, he wants to be with all the noise and the nutters. And so I missed all that. But the Blackpool fans did create a problem for the Oystons, but we wouldn't have got them out. That wouldn't have got them out. Anybody watching this thinks that you can go not a penny more and get your owners out. It needed more. It needed much more than that. And what happened was, Valeri Bellicon, the guy that I've told you, he built the south stand because we didn't have, we only had 3 sides to a ground, and one was a blooming gene. We used to call it the Singing in the Rain stand because it was an open golf stand on the east side of the ground, where the away fans were. It just had no roof. It was a golf stand, and then we had just rubble at the end. So we used to sing, to away fans, if we're winning, we've only got 3 sides and we're still winning, you know what I mean? Because they'd be having to go at us about having 3 sides. So, 3-0 and we've got 3 sides. And so he built that stand. His money built the south stand, bought Charlie Adam, bought Davy Vaughan, bought these players and got us in the Premier League. Well, the minute they got in the Premier League, the Oysters, they just shut him out. They just he had, what happened was he's a Latvian banker, and he had a cut it's called a mush, like a kangaroo court thing in a place called Kyrgyzstan. that was saying that he was allowed, because he had a bank. He was guilty of allowing businesses to money launder through his bank. That was the charge. And he was found guilty of it, but he never went. He didn't recognize. He wasn't from Kyrgyzstan. He didn't even go to the trial. He was, whether he did or he didn't. He just wasn't. It's different in Russia than it is here. You know, it's a different thing. So he didn't recognize that. But the Oystons had said, "Oh, he's a crook." He's and they got him out on this premise that he's a crook, and not that they weren't crooks, of course. So basically, he was a minority shareholder, and he was entitled to 20% of the Premier League, wasn't he? Really, he was entitled. They've got 90 odd million pounds. He's entitled to 18 million at least, isn't he? Of the money that was made off the money that he put in. So he took him to court, and the judge, Blackpool fans like to believe, he was an Arsenal fan. And I think the Arsenal fan in him could see. And the way, honestly, the court case, there was like Blackpool fans in the court, and they had to keep silencing because they were cheering and jeering. And, anything the Oysters said, they'd be like, "You're having a laugh, pal." You can hear all that coming from the, if they were trying to get away with something, the fans were on them all the time in the court. They had to keep silencing the fans. And it went on for a while. And the judge just did, his verdict could not be overturned, and it was like a 60-page verdict on how bad he thought they all were and the reasons why there was no way they were allowed to appeal this. And they awarded him £34.5 million. Well, you can imagine, honestly, the moment that news broke, my phone was ringing off the hook, but people were crying down the phone. The joy, because they didn't have the assets in the club just didn't cover 30. It wasn't worth 34 million. It was worth, I don't know, I think it all went for about 10 in the end. I think, I think they were lucky to get that. So then they had to start selling stuff off, and he had the right to all their assets were seized, and he had the right to sell it off. And, it was just a joy. But, so that's how we got them out, and that's how we've ended up back where we are. We got the owner that came in. He's called Simon Sadler.
Mm-hmm.
He runs like $1 billion hedge fund in Singapore. We don't know his wealth, because that doesn't mean he's worth $1 billion. It just means he manages. But he is a very, very, very wealthy man, and he was from Blackpool. Went to watch, Blackpool as a kid with his dad, and it's always been his dream, to own Blackpool. So he's a proper Blackpool fan, and he's there's so much that he's got to do, but there's so much he's had to kind of cure, if that makes sense. There was so much. It was like Fred Carnos when he came in. There was just nobody knew how the club shop ran, or where the actual money went to in the club shop. So they couldn't sell anything in the club shop, because if they sold something, it went to some account that nobody even knows where it is, somewhere in the world. Even the interim directors who came in, they all had they all got themselves these are the interim guys. They all got themselves Series 7, X5s, all this sort of stuff. Nobody knew where the cars were. They just where are all these cars there? So there was so much, and there was the ground was falling down with rust. They built the stands on the cheapest metal you can possibly imagine, and of course we live by the sea. You can't use galvanized steel, right? Anybody in the world knows that if you don't use galvanized steel in a salty environment, it's gonna rust. You know what I mean? And anybody who has a bloody padlock in Blackpool knows if it's not of good metal, it's going to be rusted next year because just of the salt in the rain. And so, of course, the whole thing was rusty. The outside's rusty. The cladding on the outside is the cheapest possible cladding you could get in the world. There was inside, there was rust. I did a video at the start of this. I don't know if you might have seen it, but this is how my channel completely started, by the way. This is what happened. I'll explain to you how I became a YouTuber, because I was never going to be a football vlogger. Right? That was never in my plans. I was a DJ, and I started off my channel to sort of promote my weddings and stuff, and and use it. And what happened with me is a few years ago, I started watching a bit of YouTube videos. And I watched this video, and it was this like private party at a house somewhere down London. They had an outside swimming pool in the summer. They had like a right tricky DJ by the pool, all these blow-ups in. I'm watching this video and I'm thinking, this looks like bloody Steven Spielberg's film. This, it's like unbelievable quality. And I thought, I've got to learn how to do that. I want to make videos. So I started teaching myself how to make videos, and how to edit and all the rest of it. Just making films. I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I love it. I love it. I want to make films. I want to become Steven Spielberg. So I went to a meeting. There was a fans meeting before we all came back for what was called the homecoming day at Blackpool, which was like the big thing where all the fans the Oysters had finally gone. So we were allowed to come back in. You get what I mean? There was one time where we'd actually gone to the ground, all gone to the turnstiles and walked away. Thousands of us as a protest.
Yeah.
So this time was our time to, go through those turnstiles for real. After 5 years, we had a big march back from the comedy carpet, which is just in front of the tower, all the way back to the ground. And they were asking for volunteers at the meeting to go and help clean the seats, because if you imagine, there was like 12,000 seats hadn't been sat in, 10,000 seats they hadn't been sat in. And in the far corner, all these pigeons had roosted, and there was just pigeon shit everywhere on the, you couldn't have sat in. There's no way you couldn't even walk up the stairs. It was just covered in pigeon shit. Oh God, it was horrendous. So pigeon poo, sorry, which is what I had to
that's all right.
Pigeon poo. So so it was. So I thought to myself, you know what? I thought I'll go and make a video of it. I thought I'll go down. I'll walk down to the ground. I'll go in. I'll pick up a bucket. I'll pick up a sponge. I'll film myself, cleaning a few seats. I'll have a chat with the people, the volunteers, and when I'm there, I said, we need to sing a song. Can we not think of a song we can sing, and we'll do some sort of song? And somebody came up with that, we can clean 5,000 seats, and we can clean 5,000 more, just to be their fans who clean 10,000, to see the Blackpool Roar. So I got them all singing that in the bar, filmed all that. And I filmed all this. You can go on, it's my video where it's my cleaning the seats video, and you'll see me picking up a sponge and having a rant at the Oyster and saying, this is it, Oyster, this is what happens if you look after your stuff, you clean it. And I show, I videoed all the pigeon poo everywhere. And I put the video up on YouTube, and within a day, I had the One Show and the EFL show, contacting me. The EFL show said, "Is it all right if we use your footage in the show, because we're coming to film the game?" So then I arranged to meet with the One Show and the EFL show on the comedy carpet, which I did. I spoke to the EFL show quite a lot, and then I had the One Show, and I kind of video them on the comedy carpet with me. I said, look, here I am, showing I didn't even know who they were. I'm telling them. And then they did this, I would say it was a 5-minute interview with me, where I talked all about it. And it was, the fact you can imagine, right? The family are there, the boys are there, everybody's there for Dad's big moment on big TV on the One Show. I'm on the One Show, and they're all there waiting for this interview that I've done and everything. And do you remember? Have you ever seen Monsters Inc?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, where little Mikey with the green one with the one eye, and he's like, they're all on the advert, aren't they, for Monsters Inc? And it comes to the end, and he's on for a second, and he stamp over his eye with a big thing saying Monsters Inc. And the camera pans to him, and he's like, his eyes blinking, and you think he's going to start bursting out in tears, and he just goes like, "I'm on TV," and he's so excited about the fact that he was on it for like a microsecond, but he was on it. So it comes to so we have two things to watch. We have, first of all, we have the EFL football show. Now they have used my footage, so it's got me saying, that's it, Oyster, look after your stuff. Then it has my big moment when I'm on cleaning the seats, right? So I'm watching the seats, but they chop my head off. Yeah, so it's just my torso cleaning the seats. So you can imagine the kids went, he's on TV. And then when it comes to the one show thing, I've done this 5-minute interview, and honestly, the only thing of me is on saying, "You won't believe the hell we've been through. You just won't believe the hell," and that is it. That is it. That's I get on the one show. That's my big moment. So it was quite funny at the time, but that's what kind of set everything off then. And obviously, people, Blackpool fans kind of knew me straight away because I'd been on there, and I started doing player interviews. The people like Derek Spence and Eamon O'Keefe, who was one of my heroes from the 80s, and Tony Green, and I interviewed Christine Seddon, who was head of the Blackpool Supporters Trust, and I interviewed Tim Fielding, who was the guy that was head of. He actually became a fans representative on the board when so I interviewed him as well. So it all started off really well, and I did videos of them, corrowing the pitch and getting the pitch right, and trying to see if we could find the Ormerod money, which was always rumored to be hidden in the corner under the pitch, because we never know where that 1.75 million went. So I always wondered where it got buried. So we're looking for that there. And of course, the Oysters did nothing with the pitch, and we'd had trouble with the pitch. So, the fact that they were spending some money on it, I videoed all that. And it's just been great ever since then. I've got, become a football, vlogger, but we've always tried to do things a little bit different, as you've probably noticed, than a normal football vlogger. We look for doing our own way, and just something complete. We interview fans, and we interview former players, and now we started off this football tourist guide, which we committed ourselves to, which I'm starting to worry where I've bitten off more than I can chew, if I'm being honest. We're the people watching won't know, but we're traveling down to Bournemouth tomorrow. We're setting off at 8 a.m. We're going to be taking in whatever we can of Bournemouth, filming it. Jane has her own blog, which she writes a blog all about her travels, because she's always gone away. She's always gone to away matches. In fact, she did 13 years and never missed a single game, be it a pre-season friendly, if it was in Scotland or Latvia. She went to them all. She'd go to Carabao Cup, everything. And she's done every ground, apart from the new ones. She hasn't done Tottenham, the ones that have been built.
Yeah.
She's done about 30 non-league grounds as well, because she became, when she was not at Pennymoor, she went to be match secretary at Chase Town and got into non-league, which is why we've been doing non-league down as well. She likes the non-league stuff. So she's done that. So she writes a blog, but a blog, she likes Cascale, not Cascale, the proper sort of beer sort of stuff. I don't drink it, but she reviews that kind of beer, things that are made out of our marshmallow and chocolate with something, that kind of beer. It's very popular, but she reviews that. She reviews food, dogs, all sorts of stuff. So she writes about it, and her blogs are really good. Honestly, her blogs are fantastic read. She's a writer. She's in the process of writing a book as well about her time, because she was at the time and not a penny more, and the club was suing people for writing things. She used to write in the Gazette. She used to do the column, a fans column, and she had to stop writing because she was scared that they'd take her to court. So she went through quite a bad depression, and really bad, and getting back into non-league with Chase Town saved her, really, to be honest, because she found a love for football again, because she'd lost Blackpool Football Club, they're my life, but I didn't go to all the away games. I would go to away games, like local ones, but I would never go to all the away games. It just wasn't a thing, so she's kind of shown me that there's a lot more that to football than just go into the game. So while we're doing this football tourist guide, is that we're going to have a good time. We're going to make we're coming down, we're staying over in a nice hotel, we're going to take in Bournemouth, we're going to film it, we're going to show people how nice Bournemouth is as best as we can, and then hopefully the idea then is that as time goes by, say Forest are coming to play Bournemouth, I will put the video out to like Forest forums and say, look, we went to Bournemouth. If you like us and you fancy, having a weekend there, it's bloody marvelous. You can go here, you can go there, you can do this. And then our videos don't just die, you know what I mean? Because you do football vlogs, nobody watches them. Once the game's gone, who's gonna watch? Who's gonna watch? You're on to the next one and the next one and the next one. So we're trying to do something that people will like and enjoy, and it's also showing people that you can actually have a good time regardless of whether you win or lose. You know what I mean? Because it is really tough. It is really tough, especially if you're losing, especially if you're going away and you're losing week in, week out. You know what I mean? You keep going in the middle of winter, it's raining on you and it's snowing on you and you're going and you're getting beat. You don't want to go, so we have committed ourselves to this. So we're going to have a damn good time regardless of the football. So that's why we're doing it. We're going to have a kind of like a mini holiday and maybe show people that, you can go to this country and take in museums and, meet the people and find out how, and make a lot of friends, I think, along the way as well, because normally I would just see the opposition fans as like the enemy, wouldn't you? Just, bloody, you don't get to know them at all, do you? You go to an away, we travel to Coventry, you just get there, go in the ground, get beat, come home. You just have a real bad opinion of Coventry, don't you? Never going there again. We're still 5-0, we're not ever going back there. So we're trying to get rid of all that and show people that, you can have you can go away and make a little holiday of it and, stay somewhere nice and take in, meet some of the locals and go to the pubs and just, sample Bournemouth and find out about Bournemouth. So yeah, hopefully we'll do you proud and you'll enjoy our video.
That's the great thing of doing this as well, because I've met so many away fans now, or fans of opposition sides, I should say, like yourself, like Mr. Dorr at Forest, such a laugh, who I was on the show with Mr. Dorr, and of course Jack, who did the Harry Redknapp interview. Shall we mention who he supports, or shall we not say their name?
To support the Nobbers.
Yeah, that's what you call it.
Yeah, Nobbers, go on, you're below us. We're above you for the first time, God knows how many years. Bloody Preston they'll never get in the Premier League, and the bottom of the league. It's nice to see, but I'm not going to gloat too much because we're only 1 point above them at the moment. So I'll say
they have lost the first 3, though, haven't they?
They have, they have, and it's just dull, Preston. How could you support Preston when you've got wonderful Blackpool just 20 miles down the road, with all the big one and the piers and the tower and the Golden Mile and all the rest of it. The win, the whole thing. It's just a happy place. Blackpool and Preston is not happy. Honestly, it's a grim. No. So their claim to fame is they've got the world's biggest bus station or something. I mean, that's it. It's just dire. It's dour. It's horrible. No. So we're happy at the moment. It's the one little silver lining on the cloud at the moment. We're actually a point above Preston, which is, it does bring us joy, but we're not going to gloat on it too much because it's early days and, there's no guarantee, they'll be giving me back in spades at the end of the season. So, got to be careful what I say, but it is nice. It is nice to see Preston suffering. It's good.
Yeah, well, they've lost the first 3. You have started the season getting a point at Bristol City, but you've lost the last 2 at Bloomfield Road on Tuesday night against Coventry. Very, very controversial. Very controversial.
Yeah. It was an handball end off. That's it. Any Cov fans watching, you can tell me all day that it come off his face. It came off his hand. It hit his hand first and his face, and it was an handball. And I've got pictures to prove it. I keep showing it everywhere. There's one picture that the BBC won't show you, and that's a picture that shows him hitting his arm before it hits his hand. It's clear as day. So stuff them. But I've said it many times that. Okay, it was handball, it was offside, and it was 2 minutes into a minute of injury time. So on three ways, it was never a goal. But Coventry were by far the better side in that first half. We were just not at the races, and overall on the whole game, Blackpool did play a lot better second half. We had chances as well. They didn't go in, but you know, on the balance of the game, Coventry were the better team. You know, I said that, and they deserve to win. But I always say with football, we're all football fans, and you don't always get what you deserve at football. You can be the best team, and you don't always win, do you? You know, if it was a guarantee that the best team won every game, the bookies wouldn't make a fortune, would they? Because it's just so unpredictable football. And I've been to many a game, as you probably have, where you've battered somebody and you've hit the post and the goalie's pulling off wonder saves and something hits the defender on his arse on the line and that comes out and somebody gets an head to something and then they just go down and score in the last kick of the game or something, and they've not done anything. They've not had one shot, one goal, and you think, how have we lost that game? You know what I mean? So we've all been there. So being the best team,
to be honest, if we didn't have those controversial moments, we would have stayed up.
Yeah, of course.
We would have still been in the Premier League. We had Hawkeye, we had offside by a toenail, let's just say.
Ridiculous.
It's.
Well, who was that against? Because it would have been against a big club when you lost.
Yeah, Man City.
You're playing Man City. So honestly, I'm going to ask you a question now, obviously, about.
Go on.
because I didn't enjoy the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being absolutely 100% honest, I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed the fact that we were in it and we were on TV all the time and they were talking about Blackpool and it was good for Blackpool. You know, it's good for you as well, Bournemouth, because whenever they come to Bournemouth, they're showing all the peers and, you know, they'll be showing all the coming to Bournemouth and they're kind of promoting your town as a, you know, so Blackpool got a lot of promotion out of being in and of course we got the illuminations shining for most of the season, haven't we? And it's all eye candy. Yeah. So yeah, it was good for Blackpool and I was really proud of that. And I was proud that children were on the parks in tangerine shirts where they hadn't been for years. They were all in Man United kits or, you know, whatever, you know, Liverpool kits, but tangerine was everywhere. And I was proud of that. But the actual Premier League, I didn't enjoy it. It wound me up because they changed the games. So, you know, you look at your pre-season fixture. I'll just give you one example. Sebi had a birthday and it was on the Saturday. His birthday was on Saturday. So it was a Saturday. We were playing Man City. So we said, right, okay, well, he's only like 6 or 7. So 6, I think he was. So we'll change it to a Sunday. We'll have his birthday on Sunday. Then you can go and watch Man City. So we booked it all for the Sunday and then Sky switched it to the Sunday. So we couldn't change it round then. So I missed the Man City game because I was at a party, you know. So they change the calendar. You don't play at 3 o'clock on a Saturday very often. It's more like Friday night football, Monday night football, Sunday afternoon, Saturday at 12. And so for me, football's at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. It doesn't feel right. You know, Tuesday night or you know, Saturday at 3 just feels right to me. Friday night, I always feel wrong because I've played the match on Friday and then you got the whole weekend free. And then you have international breaks and you don't like play for like a month. You don't have a game for a month. And Blackpool are playing like absolutely brilliant. And then there's just like no football for a month. And we come back out and it's like starting all over again. And that's what happened to us, you know. And you know, the referees were terrible, you know, really bad. Some of the decisions. We were playing Everton at home and we drew 2-2. And we had Marlon Harewood as a striker then. And I'm watching this game with my dad. I'm sat in this stand with my dad. And I said to my dad, I said, I can't be honest with you, Dad. Everton are the best football team I've never seen. This was early on in the season. I said, I've just never seen football like this. They're unbelievable. I said, they're like, I've never seen football like this in my life, but we're playing better than them. And we were better than Everton. They were unbelievable, and we were even more unbelievable. I'm thinking, what universe am I in here? This is not Blackpool. And right at the end of the game, deep into injury time, long ball forward, Harewood chests it down, hits it on the volley, top corner, goes in like a rocket. Pull it back for a foul. There was never a foul, and it was just never a foul. It was just shoulder to shoulder, you know, chest it down. Top bins from about 25 yards out, unstoppable shot, ruled out. Well, just that one decision would have stayed up because we went down on goal on goal difference. We'd have stayed up just with that. Never mind all the rest of it. I think we played it was either Newcastle or Stoke. We had like 3 stonewall penalties. We drew 0-0. And they even had the referee, one of these referees on, looking at it. He said, well, one of them, I'd probably give that one as well, but the other 2, they're like nailed on, you know what I mean? We're beating bloody Man United 2-0 at half time at Bloomfield Road. We get a stonewall penalty. The defender for United is already on a yellow card. That Luke Varney's running through. He just completely takes Luke Varney out, like just nowhere near the ball, just like throws him up in the air. Everybody shouts a penalty, and the referee just goes, "No, play on." They look back on it on TV, and one of the pundits say, "Well," he said, out of 10, what do you reckon that penalty is? He said, well, 11, basically. It's like, it's the most obvious penalty. But I still think, in that game, in the referee's head, because you've got Fergie over there, and he was like scary. Honestly, God, he was so scary he's on the touchline. He's actually, never mind, he's not even in the box. He's on the pitch all the time. Giving the referee shit. And I'm sure that referee, and at this time when we played him, United had not been beaten. They were unbeaten. So if we beat United, if he gives a penalty here, he's got to send that United player off. They're down to 10 men. They're 3-0 down, and they're not coming back from it. And I'm sure he looked at it. He thought, if I give this penalty, and I'm wrong, I'll never referee ever again, because he'll just have me. I'll just never referee. I'm out. I'm not good. All that I'm on like whatever 1,000 a month to be a Premier League. I'm gone. And then he thought to himself, but if I don't give it, and I'm wrong, and it's a penalty, it's only bloody Blackpool. Who cares about bloody Blackpool? It'll only be in the paper for a day. So he didn't give it, and it's just that pressure they're under in it, to award the big team they're terrified of losing the jobs and everything else and the money they're on. So it's very geared towards the big club. I didn't like it, and I
got to agree. To be honest, there were situations where against Spurs, we were penalised in Project Restart. You had the Man City incident, and don't get me started with Burnley.
Oh my God!
The Burnley story.
Was that bad? Well, Burnley are not a big club though, so
no. So they were 1-0 up, and we went. They got it in our box, and we've cleared it.
Yeah.
And we've gone up the other end and scored, and then all of a sudden VAR's come in, the dreaded VAR.
Right.
And he's pulled it back. So we thought we'd scored 1-1. Fantastic. We're back in this game. Momentum's all with us. No, dragged it all the way back for a penalty. Suddenly we're 2-0 down.
Yeah, to them, didn't they? Yeah, I kind of remember that. Was it a penalty?
No.
So you've gone from 1-1 to 2-0 down.
Yeah, and that's why the Premier League.
It stinks.
Yeah. To be honest, the second season, really enjoyed it. To be honest, the third season, I thought, well, actually, this isn't too bad. We started very, very slowly, gradually got better, finished with a bit of a flourish in that third season. But after that, it was all downhill. You did feel we always seem to get great results against Chelsea. We were Chelsea's bogey side. But when we was playing the likes of Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Spurs, it felt like things were against us.
Yeah, you just don't feel you get the rub of the green, do you? You don't get the rub of the green. And the other thing as well is you only play, you only play 38 games. There's not as many games, is there? There's just not as much football to watch, and you're paying. But it's nice to be in there, and I think probably for Bournemouth now, you've got probably quite a big war chest. I don't know how much money they've got in the bank, but you can afford some. You can afford to splash a bit, and you will have a very, I'm expecting you to be like a top. When we come to Bournemouth, I'm expecting you to be like a real class team, and I imagine you're probably watching like really, in this league, you'll be enjoying yourself because your team will look like, like Manchester United look in the Premier League or City look, you'll be looking like that in the Championship because you've got good players. I mean, if you signed today, you've signed some quality today as well, haven't you? So,
yeah,
you are seeing a better quality of player where we're not at, we're just everything's a free at Blackpool. That I think we have spent 750,000. I don't know how because we don't normally, but I think it's rumoured we might have spent 750,000 on this young lad from Leeds, but I don't believe it because half the time we get everybody on a free.
The joy this season, really, for us though, is the youngsters coming through. So like Jaden Anthony, Jordan Zamora, Gavin Kilkenny, even Mark Travers, the goalkeeper. Again, he did play against Spurs in the Premier League. He had a phenomenal game, actually. We beat him 1-0, had a phenomenal game, and then was dropped for Ramsdale, who's recently moved to Arsenal. But one player that stood out to me that we'd never even heard of was Zeno Ibsen Rossi. And he looks outstanding. He seems assured at the back. Our defence have got a combined age of just over 21 years old.
That's brilliant. So, I mean, that's fantastic. And I don't know what it is. It's, it will be your Premier League legacy that you've been able to, while you're in the Premier League, you've been able to attract these young players that probably would have gone somewhere else. To be honest, if you'd have been in, say, League Two, you wouldn't have got them in your academy, but they've come because you're a Premier League team, and they'll have been coming through the academy, and they've been coming through the youth system when you were in the Premier League. So now you're starting to see those players that were attracted to Bournemouth because you were Premier League are now starting to come through, aren't they? And it's a good thing to be in it. Don't get me wrong, it's a good thing. If you work it the right way and you don't go silly, you don't start putting all your eggs and, buying players for 40 million and all this stupid stuff they do. I mean, it's insane. Do you not think the whole thing's insane? It's like the Premier League. I'll just give you an example, right? They were giving teams 46 million quid. Yeah. When we went in the Premier League, they were giving the clubs 46 million pounds. So United would buy a player for 46 million pound, and they justify it by saying, so players are worth 46 million pound. Now they're getting 150 million or 100. I don't know what it is now. Is it 150 million now? It's ridiculous, whatever it is that they're getting.
Yeah.
But the minute it goes to 150 million, then the players are now costing 150 million. For a player that was costing 40 million, would have been costing 10 million. And if they get this deal, and there was a rumor about it that Amazon were going to take it over and they were going to give every Premier League club 500 million. Right, this was what was being rumored around here. It's one of the reasons why the Oysters didn't want to lose it, because this big, I don't know if it's going to come in or it's not. But if they do, if Amazon come in and give every team in the Premier League 500 million, the players, they'll be buying them for 500 million. And they'll be saying, well, he's worth 500 million, 500 million. And there'll be pundits on TV justifying the fact that this player's worth 150 million. They're not fucking worth 150 million. Nobody's worth that money. They're not. Players should be, I don't know, 10 million? Most. These 150 million, 250 million. So all the money that they're getting just goes out. They're paying players 250 grand a week or 500 grand a week. They haven't got a pot to pay in these Premier League. There's only the odd club that's making any money. Everybody else is not making any money. So you've got to go in that Premier League and not do any of that. You've not got to get into that insanity and just be thinking, well, we'll just take the money and run kind of thing, haven't you? And invest it in your infrastructure and your stadium, and you could let fans go for free, couldn't you?
I think that's what Eddie Howe did very well, though, bringing these youngsters in.
He did. He never spent fortunes, did he, for Bournemouth? I don't think you've spent.
No.
What's your biggest transfer fee, Bournemouth? What's the player you've spent the most on?
I would say, I believe it's Nathan Ake.
How much was he?
And going back to it, I think he was about 15, 16.
which is still,
So,
I'm sure
it's still
when,
a lot of money.
I'm sure
You
when
know,
it came out and they said they're buying him for 15 million, I bet you all thought, Jesus, 15 million, 15 million. That's like a lot of money, isn't it? You can walk out to the pitch, trip over, do his cruciate, you never see him again. You just spent 15 million on him. It's
well, that's the risk that Man City take. You think,
yeah. They can afford it. It's nothing to them, is it? It's like they earn more in interest every year than on the billions that they have. It just means nothing to them. Money means nothing to them, and that's why it's all wrong. The whole thing's wrong.
Yeah.
The whole football is just wrong from the top to the bottom. And to be honest with you, if we stay in the Championship, and I think it's a decent. I think Championship football's great. I mean, we've just watched 3 games, and I can tell straight away this is like different level. You know what I mean? We can feel it. You can see, Cardiff were, they were direct, but, they came, they looked bloody land of the giants came in, we look like little lads, compared to Cardiff. They were just so big everywhere. And Coventry, were played some really, really good. It was a good football match for a neutral to go and watch that. It was a great, Blackpool had chances. It was end to end, second half. It was, it was bloody brilliant. There was some great football, and I'm thinking this is just a different level. It's just a different level to to what we were playing last season, and it's just whether we can adjust to it, and whether we can. I think we need to strengthen. To be honest, I don't think we're good enough. I don't think we've signed enough good players, but we have got Critchley, and he is a really good coach. So it kind of happened last year where we started off slow and then we just got better and better. And by the time we got to the end of the season, we were a Championship team. We were head and shoulders above anybody in League One. We knew we were going to win the final at Wembley. We knew we'd breeze Lincoln away because we played them a few weeks before. And we were 2-0 up and cruising, and we should have been about 6-0 up, but they got a goal and they got a jammy equaliser, really, and I bet they wish they never had because they wouldn't have played us if they'd have lost, because we'd have gone automatic. If we'd have won that game, we'd have been automatically promoted, really, because then we lost 2 silly games against Rochdale and against AFC Wimbledon, ridiculous games against teams that were just nowhere, because we lost a bit of confidence with that game. But then after that, we picked it up again, and we got, through the playoffs, we just we breezed Oxford away 3-0 away, and we won 3-0 away, 3-0. It was just unbelievable, and you just knew you were gonna, you just knew. And Blackpool do have a habit of, we are the most successful playoff team in history. We've won more playoffs than anybody else. But then we've come up, and we're finding it. We haven't. Few of the players that were pretty good in that team, players like Dan Ballard, who was on loan from Arsenal. He's gone to Millwall now, but he's an amazing young player. We had Ellis Sims from Everton, who came in a bit raw. He'd scored about 50 goals in the under 23s, but like he started and he thought, oh, is this kid any good? And by the time we got to the end, Critch had coached him into some like a wonder god. He was unbelievable. Elliot Embleton, we got from Sunderland, and he just transformed him. He's gone back to Sunderland. There's no way, they're keeping him. They love him. He's, I get messages from Sunderland fans all the time saying, God, what have you done to Embleton? You've sent us back a god at football, So we're hoping that, Critchley can do the same sort of thing to these players and get them playing better than they are. You know what I mean? He's a good coach, but we don't know. We've no idea, because at the moment we're looking a bit like, we're not quite good enough. We're not good enough. I like a team, I don't know, I'm sure when you go tomorrow as Bournemouth fans to watch this, you'll be thinking 3 points here, and you will be expecting to be camped in our half, have us on the back foot, be coming at us, probably creating about, 15, 20 chances, aren't you? That's I imagine that's the game you're imagining. These are here as cannon fodder, basically. We're just going to breeze them away. And I like to see my team play like that. I like to see my team on the front foot, pushing them back, creating chances. It's going wide. Balls are coming across the box. Things are flashing. Shots are going wide. Keepers are pulling off wonder saves. What you don't want to see is your team like defending for their lives and trying to catch somebody on the break and going down and wasting time. It's not something that we do, actually. By the way, we don't waste time. I hate that. And we seem to hate that. If we get a foul, we get up. Just don't piss about rolling around for 20 hours and bring 2 trainers on like Gillingham do, and just waste time. But I hate that football, and we're not there. Blackpool are not there yet. We're not dominating. We dominated quite a bit in the second half against Coventry. We did get on top of the game, and we had them pen back in their half, and that's what you want to see from your team. You don't want to be like going there like you're chewing your fingernails from the first few minutes, because it's like you've had 3 shots on target in the first 5 minutes and all that sort of stuff. But so that's it. We're not yet. We're not there. It's whether we can get there. Whether we can do it because we've got you, and then we've got Millwall, and we've got Fulham at home. So, I can't see. If I'm being honest, it's like nil point. I can't see anything. I really can't see anything more than just losing at the moment. And it's weird because we played Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup in between Bristol and playing Cardiff, and we just breezed Middlesbrough away. We won 3-0. It was like some of the best football I've ever seen, and it's not been like that. So.
It's a tough old league. I think every team is different. That is the one thing with the Championship. Every team is different. There was teams last season. We played Birmingham the other night, and to be honest, they weren't so much as last season. They were very much in our faces. Millwall are always like that. Are always like that. But you have the very good footballing teams as well, of which I believe we are one of those. We like to keep the ball, pass it about. The youngsters are quick and turn on their man. So we've got a lot of talent.
It's exciting football you're watching, isn't it? It's exciting football.
And do you know what? The youngsters, last season at times, there was points where I thought, some of them just don't, like Josh King towards the end of his time here. He just was playing for a move. He didn't seem to care. There was no passion coming out of him. He was waiting for that move to Everton, whereas these youngsters really want it. They're giving 110%. They're leaving everything on that pitch.
Well, that's all you can ask for in a team. That's all every fan wants in it. You want them to put on the shirt and just basically just play for the shirt, and and they become heroes if they do that. We all know that. But it sounds great. I'm dreading it.
Well, to be honest, one of the best bits of business that we did was we had a bad run. Jason Tyndall was sacked, and then we signed Ben Pearson from your friends down the road. Do you want to say the word?
The Nobbers.
Yes,
the Knob-enders, Preston Knob-end.
Believe it or not, we signed him for such a nominal figure. It was, an outstanding bit of business. To be honest, Neil Blake, Jeff Mostyn, Richard Hughes, the team here have done that all along, have bought players, and sometimes when I look back at it, especially with Ben Pearson, I feel it was like daylight robbery on Preston.
Good.
I know you won't mind that.
No, I don't mind it at all. You can pick all the best players. I mean, we've seen it quite a few times where Preston have actually sold players for big. It's actually been a big bugbear of Blackpool fans, because Preston have sold quite a lot of players like for 5 million and all that those kind of figures, and we haven't. We haven't. Our players have not. Charlie Adam went. Is our biggest sale, but we don't quite know if I think it was 7.5 million for him, so that was a big one. Massey Phillips went for 5, but it was only that Premier League. But Preston seemed to always do good business, but they didn't do good business with him, did they? How much did you get him for? Just to cheer me up.
It was minimal. I know it was less than a million. Less than a million, if not.
That brings a little sunshine coming in through the window there.
But he was the best business because he transformed that side under Woodgate and got us firing in the right direction. And when he come on, he's not been very well. I believe it's COVID related. Recently, he come on against Birmingham, and again he got an assist. Fantastic assist for the first goal. And then the 2 youngsters, Ibsen Rossi and Jaden Anthony, If any Blackpool fans want to see that, that was a phenomenal goal. Ball crossed into the box. Ibsen Rossi's headed it back. Jaden Anthony, top corner. No goalkeeper would have stopped that. Fantastic volley. So, yeah, things are looking very, very positive. Do you think? I know that we're a very good side. I've got a lot of confidence in us going up now. To be fair, with this side and
I think you've got a chance.
The players
definitely
coming back. But do you think actually, you probably looked at it on paper. Okay, they've got a lot of players out. They've got the likes of Steve Cook. They've got Stacey out, Pearson, Stanislas, Lewis Cook. You probably thought, well, actually, this isn't a bad time to play them. But are you thinking differently now? Are you thinking, oh crikey, actually, we've got a load of hungry youngsters that we're going to come up against, and maybe it would have been better to play against the old guard.
I'll be honest with you now. I've not been thinking we were ever going to win at Bournemouth, to be honest. I've already assumed we're going to get beat. I was assuming that anyway. I thought Bristol we had a chance. On the way I went to Bristol thinking we could just nick some here and surprise these. And I thought Coventry was I thought Cardiff, the way I'd seen it, I thought we could just nick a win at Bristol, if we have a bit of luck. I thought Cardiff, if we can get a draw, it's against, it's a tough, it's a tough team. They're a big team. I thought, if we can get a draw here, that'd be all right. But I thought, I saw Coventry. I thought, well, they only, we'd only played them a couple of seasons ago because they got promoted, obviously, in the COVID season, half a season. And really, Blackpool should have got promoted in that. We should have got, in that COVID season, we had Simon Grayson. Yeah. And when it came to Christmas, we'd beaten Fleetwood and we'd beaten Peterborough 4-3 at home. And we were playing some really good football. And if we'd have won the game, like the game of the Saturday before Christmas, we'd have gone top of the league. And then we had Little Accrington Stanley on Boxing Day. And then we were away at Tranmere Rovers on New Year's Day. And then we had Rotherham. And I'd seen that sort of like, I thought we're going to get like a minimum of 9 points here. And we're going to be flying. We're top of the league. And we just played terrible. Saturday before Christmas, we were awful. Accrington Stanley at home, we were terrible. I went to Tranmere Rovers, we were 1-0 up, threw that away, came out of the draw, and then lost at Rotherham in the 85th minute, which made the day really bad. And then we never recovered from that. There seemed to be something happened within the team. Something went wrong. The players didn't look like they were interested, and we just went on an incredibly bad run then. But if we'd have gone, the season finished like February, with COVID, it was curtailed. If we'd have gone top of the league and been playing well and carried on top of the league, we'd have gone up. Do you know what I mean? We were literally 2 months away from getting, you didn't even have to go the whole hog. You just had to be there, didn't you? They just said, right, that's the points. That's where you finished. You're up. So Coventry got up on that. And we were beating Coventry 2-0 at Coventry into extra time in the first half and let 2 goals in and trying to get a third. They equalised, then they scored another one within about 2 minutes, all in extra time. And then with 5 minutes to go, Grayson threw on his final substitution, who then got injured. And so we went down to 10 men 5 minutes to go and lost in the 3rd minute of injury time. So we played really well against Coventry. So I thought, we've got a chance against Coventry. I thought, this is at home, big crowd. I thought, this is, we will get this. I was confident. It was my birthday. I thought we're definitely gonna win this. And of course, what happened, and we didn't. So we're only on 1 point. So where I was thinking, possible, maybe 5-6 points, maybe out of these opening games, we got 1. And I really thought, if we get that, then we got to Bournemouth. That's just write that one off. Just not going to win. I thought Millwall will be tough, but you never know. It's it's an intimidating place to go. But I thought you could just get some out of Millwall. I thought Fulham were going to get battered. They've just they look really good. So I was hoping for a decent start, and I actually said in my video, we really can't afford to lose 2 games on the bounce at home, and we have, and that's a problem. So no, I never I never looked at it and thought, no, you've got players injured and, we're going to do something. No, I just thought you'd be too good for us. I thought even with injuries, you'd have, plenty of good players, and I'll be amazed. I'll be amazed. I'll be amazed if we get. I'll be amazed if it's less than 4-0. If I'm being honest, that's the way I feel about it. I just can't, barring a miracle and barring the team suddenly turning into Barcelona overnight. I've not got a lot of. I'm not hoping. I'm just going to enjoy my trip to Bournemouth, and that's it. We're going to have a good time. We're going to
see the beaches,
Yeah, just go to visit some things and just do a touristy thing, and it's just going to be great. And we're just having a holiday, and football doesn't really matter to me.
Well, you never know. That's the thing. Is with football,
it's a funny old game.
There's been surprise results in the past, and I'm confident in Bournemouth at the moment, but anything can happen. Let's be honest. We got beat twice by Sheffield Wednesday last season, and they were rubbish.
Against United, bottom of the league. You wouldn't have thought that, would you?
No, exactly.
No, you wouldn't have thought Sheffield would be struggling like they are, but. No, listen, it is football, and your team could, we're just praying basically that you have an off day. Just something goes wrong. I don't know. Maybe we might poison the food or something. Your pre-match meal, and you all trot into the toilet or something through the game. You've all got bad stomachs or something. That's what we're hoping for. There's some beach ball that comes on the pitch and bounces it in for us or something.
All the youngsters have been out on the town
the night before, and they're all hungover or something, and we come and romp you. So you never know. There's always that dream, but I'm expecting, to be honest, you just see some good football and and see how good you are.
What would you say are the biggest areas that you need to strengthen, and the biggest weaknesses for Blackpool at the moment, Lee?
Well, we've never, as a team, people were talking on my stream yesterday that we never kind of replaced Charlie Adam. We've not got that sort of player that, that really gets his foot on the ball and drives it forward and, and goes at him. We're very passy. We have Gary Medine, who is our only tall striker. He's the only one that's way over 6 foot tall, and he is a tall lad. He's 6'4" or 6'5". He's big. I've actually stood in the pub with him. He was in the Armfield Club, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm tall like a mountain. And Jerry Yates, he's not a tall striker. He's not tall. So, and Shane Lavery, this other lad that we've got, and he was exciting, but he's a little striker. He's a little pulling the ass striker. So I quite like them as well. But Jerry Yates is trying to have him to play Gary Medine, and really Jerry Yates needs Gary Medine to knock him down to him and all that, for him to play well. So he's struggling because he's got nobody knocking balls down to him and giving him stuff. And he's really having to play the role of knocking it down to Shane Lavery, which is not really working. We've got a young kid in this John Jules on loan from Arsenal, who at the moment looks like he's not there yet, whether Crits can turn him into a player. We had Ellis Sims last year from Everton, but he's injured. We couldn't get him back, so he got an injury. He didn't play in the playoff final. He's still injured, so I don't know what we did to him. He took a penalties or something and did something, and he's been ruined ever since. He's not played since. So we need a big striker. We've got a defender called Marvin Ekpiteta, who came from Leyton Orient, and he was just brilliant last season. Then he got injured, and he actually comes up and gets goals as well. He scores goals, at corners. He comes up for corners and gets goals. He's back fit now, but he doesn't seem to want to play him. And he's playing Richard Keogh. You've probably heard of him. Who we signed. And if I'm being honest, he probably was quality when he was in his 20s, but he's 35 now. And to me, he's got it up in the head, but he's not got it in his legs anymore. And I don't think he's the answer, really. And I think we'd be better with Ekpiteta in, who's fast and he's massive, So if we don't play Ekpiteta, we haven't got Gary Medine. Honestly, you'll think, God, this team's small. we'll look all over these, and because we're just not a big side. Chris Maxwell's not a big goalie. We're just a little side, and we look little. And I don't like having a little side. There's something in me that I like tall size. There's something about big, imposing size. I think it's a bit terrifying. I remember, Arsenal came to Bluefield. I thought, bloody hell, that land of the bloody giants. This line, everyone's about 6'5". You're like, what are we playing here? Like playing the Harlem Globetrotters, you know what I mean? It's terrifying. So we need, everybody will tell you we need a striker. But the trouble is, we've got Gary Medine, but he's just never fit. He's just always injured. He got injured. Missed about, I don't know, 15 games at the end of the season. He did a cameo appearance in the playoff final, and then he's gone again. He's not back. He's not played yet. He didn't play pre-season. He's not. So, we haven't got him. And so I think, midfield, really, we could do with somebody, and we could definitely do with a big striker. But where do you get him? Where do you get him?
That is the thing, isn't it, really? And to be fair, we've got Solanke up front. He's very good at laying off to other players and bringing players in. Say, for example, Lerma. Of course, Danjuma, when he was here, he's gone to Villarreal for 21 million. So absolutely gutted about that. But
if you can spend that money wisely, 21 million really should, it's like I keep saying, 21 million should buy you a bloody whole team, really, if you're sensible about it. And, there are players out there that are quality, and you don't have to spend 20 million on every player. I don't think you do. But the trouble is the market's just so, for really world-class players, it's bloody, it is 150, 250 and more, isn't it?
Yes,
million. You've no chance of buying those kind of players, have you? They're just priced out of like any normal club's budget, aren't they?
But I found that with regards to ourselves, it's quite difficult to find that out-and-out striker. And we've sold to be fair, we've sold a striker in Sam Surridge to Stoke, who's been on fire for them. Been on absolute fire for them. But for some reason, he just didn't work in the squad.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't, do they? So sometimes players fit at certain clubs sometimes, and it just doesn't work out for them, does it?
But I think what you'll find from us is we'll play it a lot on the deck. We'll keep the ball. We will probably have most of the possession. We do allow club sides to have opportunities.
You do like to have the ball then, at least for 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, you probably have it for 5 minutes, but not much. But we will keep the ball. We will let sides have opportunities, but we're very, very quick on the break. And I'm sorry to disappoint you, Lee, but David Brooks is going to be back as well. So,
great.
Who's a very, very good player. But
all good news.
Yeah. I did. Where do you reckon Blackpool will finish? And from what you've seen of us, where do you, if you decide, could call it now, where do you think we'll finish?
I think you will finish playoffs or higher. I can't see you not being in the playoffs. There's no chance you will be in the playoffs. Whether you can make automatic, it obviously depends on the two. Well, at least Sheffield United are looking like they're not going to be the threat. So you got Fulham, haven't you?
Yeah.
You got Swansea probably who missed out last season. They could be a threat, couldn't they? Really?
I'm not sure about Swansea though. Actually,
no, you're not sure.
From the playoff teams last season, so you had Swansea, Barnsley, and you had Reading just behind us. Of course, Brentford went up. I think Barnsley are a lot. They don't seem, what they were when Ishmael was there. Ishmael had them all playing together. He had Alex Mowat. Of course, he's followed Ishmael to West Brom. I think West Brom are a fantastic team. They're very, very good. You had Swansea. They've lost Cooper. And personally, I think they might. I think they'll get it right towards the end of the season, or a little bit further down the line, I should say. But I don't think they'll be threatening the playoffs. I might be wrong in that. They might sneak into the playoffs. And Reading at the moment is a bit of a basket case from what I've seen, with financial fair play, and they've sold Elise, they've sold Omar Richards. They've got a very good player, I believe, in Femi Aziz, who looks outstanding for them. So they've got a very good academy. They've got a very, very good academy, but I don't think they can sign anybody. They just seem a bit of a mess. So
it's yours for the taking, really, isn't it? You started off well. It is your division for the taking this year. I actually, hand on heart, I think Bournemouth have got a really good chance to get promoted. I would stick a sneaky fiver on you, definitely. If I was
I'm thinking we'll go up automatically, but we won't win it. I think West Brom will win it.
Runners up.
That's what I thought. But what about yourselves? Do you think you can keep yourselves above the water this year?
I think if we can get third, just behind you, I'd take that now. I'd settle, honestly.
You never know.
I'd settle for 17th, to be honest. If I, just to stay in this season would be a feat. Mid-table, I would, really be happy with mid-table. I'd love a sort of an amazing. I'd love it to happen like it happened last season, and things to repeat, and where we got off to a bad start and then started to get on our stride. And I do feel that with the club, that the team that we've got now is not going to be the team that we finish with. I think they will strengthen it. I think they'll strengthen in January. I think, there's irons in the fire, whether it's loans or, we brought a couple of players in last season. We brought in Kenny Dougal just from nowhere. Just, it wasn't, he was out of contract. He was just out of contract. It's awesome. We signed Kenny Dougal, and he changed a lot, a lot of the way we played. We signed Kevin Stewart, just from nowhere. He didn't have a club, and he's ex-Liverpool and everything. So we will pick up, Dan Ballard came in, after the transfer window on loan. So I don't think the team that we're seeing now is going to be the team that we're going to be cheering on through the season. I think they're going to strengthen it. I don't think Simon Sadler's going to want to have done all that to get us out there. I mean, to do what he's done to end up going back down again. I think he's ambitious. Yeah. The club's ambitious. When you go, you're feeling all the time that things are improving. The stadium looks better. We've actually got, electronic scoreboards now. We've never had those before. We've got those. I mean, we're all super excited up here. We've got electronic scoreboards. I'm just fascinated with them all the time. Zipping around adverts and stuff. Thinking, bloody hell, what's this? We're used to just, the typical wood, whatever hoardings, with our.
Remember those days, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the first time we've had electronic scoreboards. So we're like, we're really excited that we've got them.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much flashing lights impress us up here in the north, I tell you.
To be honest, I think there's 3 worse teams than Blackpool. Definitely. I think
you're right. Go on then.
I think Preston. I think Preston.
Yeah, I'll take that.
How they've started, they've been beaten by Hull.
By a lot, really, have they? Hull, Huddersfield, and
Reading.
Reading, yeah. Reading are their bogey team, though. Reading, they never beat Reading. They're hard. I don't know why they have the hoodoo over Preston, so I expected that. But yeah, they haven't played the big teams yet. They haven't played anybody like really.
No,
they haven't played you, and they haven't played Fulham, and they haven't played, West Brom, Swansea, all the the big clubs. I mean, even Coventry, looked pretty good, to be honest. Cardiff looked okay. I thought Cardiff looked pretty good, but then they got beat, didn't they, by Peterborough the other night? So I thought Peterborough struggled. I thought they'd struggle, to be honest, because they got automatic. They got our spot, really. We finished just top of the playoffs, and they got automatic, and we were basically 5 points behind them. But as I say, we dropped points that we shouldn't have dropped. Really, we dropped points, and we played Peterborough, and we battered them. We battered them. Just at the end of the season, we tore them apart. Honestly, I thought these they just didn't look anything, Peterborough, and I was disappointed that they got the automatic and we didn't. So I thought they were false. I thought we were the better team. I thought we'd do better than them, but You know, whether they've signed somebody and they look, because they've done well, haven't they? We got beat by Cardiff, they've beaten Cardiff, so on that sort of balance, you would say they're obviously better than us because they've beaten a team that beat us. So I don't know.
I think Huddersfield and I think Derby as well, though, because Derby, they won the other night, but at the same time,
they're in a mess.
They're in a mess. I think they'll get points deduction. They bought in Jagielka. They bought Baldock that hasn't scored for ages, and then decided he was going to score the other night. I think that they will go down.
It's weird with Derby, isn't it? Because they've obviously had all these financial problems, haven't they? They got away with it, didn't they? They should have got a points deduction. They got away with it. And they can't sign anybody, can they? But they've got Jagielka in. So how much they've offered him for wages. But even before the season, there was all these things like players haven't been paid and all this. Did you read that? I read it. The players were going mental. I think they managed to pay him at the last minute. But as a player, I'd be looking at that, wouldn't you? If I was Phil Jagielka, I'd be looking at all that and thinking, do I want to go to Derby? Do I want to go somewhere where I'm not sure I'm going to get paid? I'd be like, forget that, pal. I'm not going there. You know what I mean? It just looks like a car wreck club at the moment. So it's not a club I'd be signing for. I can't believe they're signing players. I don't know how they're talking them into it, because from the outside and these players must look at it read the papers like we do and look at the troubles they're going through and how they got, what did they suspended it, didn't they, in the end? It was a joke. Yeah. It was a joke decision that, anybody else that had just, the EFL had just punished them, and sent them down into bloody hell.
Look at what's happened to Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday. They got punished. Bloody Bury they just put them out of business, didn't they? They come back as AFC Bury playing in. And then Derby do all that, and it's just like, oh well, just suspended. So if they do anything wrong, that suspension's going to be. They're going to get it slapped bang in the face, aren't they? So. It's not a club I go to really, but I'm hoping they do get a blooming points deduction and save us.
I'm sure they will do. I don't think they can get away from it. They had that interchangeable league fixture list last season. For this season, And I think, that would have been harsh on them, but I think the points deduction, should happen. I can't see it not happening.
I can't.
I think
it's unbelievable.
I would be surprised if Reading get one as well. I don't.
As a fan, and you're a fan as well, and I hate all this point deduction stuff. If I'm being honest, I just think, the fans are punished, and I think probably anybody who's watching this now will agree that it's never the fans' fault. It's nothing to do with the fans. They go, I've spoken to Bury fans. We did a video where AFC Bury have come to play a local team here, Squires Gate. We did the video with them, and this fathers, sons, grandfathers have gone and watched Bury for years and years. It's their life, just like Bournemouth is your life, Blackpool's my life, and they've had it all taken away from them, and they haven't done anything wrong. They've gone, they've paid the money, they've put the money in for season tickets year after year after year. They've stood in the rain and the cold and the wind, and they've supported and they've sang, and somebody's come into the club, bought into the club and ruined them, haven't they? They've come in and destroyed them, and it's sad, and I don't agree with these points deductions. I just think it's unfair, but there has to be some sort of punishment because you can't cheat your way. I kind of get that. You can't spend more than, what your money's coming in. But I'm sure, if you looked at United books, they're bloody bent as a 10 bob note. There's, they get away with all sorts of stuff, and it's all for the big guys, and it's not for the little, football. I mean, well, they showed the true colours, didn't they, when they want to sell this European super crap that they want, and unfortunately they didn't get away with it because the fans just at that level just made such a stink that there's just no way it was going to happen, was it? And I think that's a good thing for football. I think that's
it would have been an absolute disaster because it would have been an absolute disaster. It would build a gulf between the top 6 clubs. Would you even call them the top 6 clubs?
But would you want? Would you want to be in it? Seriously, would you want
No.
to be in a league where you never got relegated from it? You played most of your games. You travel into Barcelona, to Germany, to to all these foreign. It's hard. Honestly, it's hard enough coming to Bournemouth. It's going to cost us an arm and a leg to come to Bournemouth tomorrow. You know what I mean? We're hiring a car because our little Fiesta really, he's not enough to take us to Bournemouth. Yeah, I don't want to travel 6.5 hours in a little Fiesta. You know what I mean? So we're hiring a car. That's 200 quid. Petrol. We're booking for a hotel. So this weekend's going to cost us 400 or 500 quid. If we're going to bloody Barcelona, how much is that going to cost you to watch?
Oh, it's your team.
You're just not going to be going and watching them, are you? And
no,
I don't know about you, but I don't really care who wins the Champions League.
No,
it just doesn't interest me. I like the FA Cup. I like the League Cup. I like playing English teams. I like playing in England. I like English clubs. I'm a typical Englander. I don't ever watch. I don't know if you ever watch it, but I never watch German football. I never watch like La Liga. No. If it's on. My dad would watch anything. He'd watch Cork playing Dublin and shout me and say, come on, look at this goal. And it'd be like, I don't know, Limerick versus something. And it'd be like a wonder goal or something. He'd be watching.
I'll say this. I did watch the Belarusian league. I did watch a bit, but that was during lockdown. They were still playing. They were the only ones playing, so I thought I'd watch a bit of that.
I didn't. I just like English football. I like the way we play. And I don't watch the Champions League. I have no interest in it. I couldn't tell you. I don't even. This might sound weird to you, but I don't even watch. We don't watch the Premier League. I've never watched the Premier League other than the season we were in it.
No,
I'm. If I'm not in it,
to be honest, I don't.
I've only ever watched Blackpool Football Club, and I might have watched Match of the Day when I was a kid a bit, but like from being a man, I just don't watch Match of the Day. I'm not interested. It's just I'm not in it. If I'm not in it, it doesn't mean anything to me. You know what I mean? I couldn't care less if City win it or United win it or Liverpool win it or Everton win it or Leicester win it. I'm not bothered because all I'm bothered about is how did Blackpool get on this weekend. That's it. My life. My dad, when he was alive, he's dead now. He lived to see the Premier League season. He died just the season after, and which was great because we did a father-son thing. We'd done it like since a little boy, and he'd taken me, and we got to get the dream together, which was it's quite unbelievable. And not only as well in that season, my dad was 77 when he died, and Lancashire won the cricket for the first time in 77 years. And honestly, all through my teens, we'd listen to the radio or listen to Lancashire. And quite often they were like winning it. And then the rain had come, because we're up in the north and all the games they get points and they'd end up losing it, on the, whatever they do with cricket, you get points given you rather than the game because and it just happened year after year and we never done it. But in that last season, Lancashire won it. So the beautiful thing for him, although I lost him, I got to see, the Premier League with him. And he was like, the whole thing made sense. I thought, I've done this thing with my dad. I used to say to people, my dad made me a bloody Blackpool fan to ruin my life. He just did. Why did he take me to Blackpool? Why wasn't he a United fan or something? Why wouldn't he want to be? Why did he have to be bloody Blackpool and put me through this? But at his funeral, part of the speech, I said that, it just was the most wonderful journey in the end because it took 40 years of 30 years. It was 40 years to get back in the Premier League, but 30 years to get back in the Championship. And I did all that with him, and it's I'll never forget it really. And it's been a fantastic part of my life, and Blackpool have had quite a lot of ups. In the last 20 years, we've had we've been successful in playoffs. We've won the LDV a few times. In fact, I used to have a shirt on. We went to Cardiff one time and I had a shirt. I bought the shirt and it said Millennium Stadium, home of Blackpool FC, because we won there that many times. We won the playoffs there. We won 2 LDV finals there. In fact, we didn't want to go to Wembley, but we've been successful at Wembley as well. But, the joy I've had going with my dad. And you know, if there's any young kids watching this, your dad takes you, go with him and do it with your dad, because there's nothing, honestly. You never. I mean, and my dad would, you know, probably like your dad would, you know, teletext. He'd be like, you know, looking at a teletext. He'd be like watching it every 5 minutes, see if we'd signed anybody or any news had come on. And then we'd be on like Granada Reports or, you know, Northwest, you know, BBC Northwest. And there'd be like a 30-second thing on Blackpool. He'd record it and we'd be watching it like 50,000 times over the same clip over and over again. You know, he just watched anything. And, you know, we used to talk about, you know, with my dad, we'd go to the game, then we'd talk about the game, dissect the game, then we'd be, you know, looking to the game that was coming up. And I just talked to him about football every day, which has been one of the beauties of doing this with Jane, because she is as mad Blackpool, if not madder than I am. So you can talk to her about football all the time. And funnily enough, when I met her, we were talking about birthdays, and I said, "When's your birthday?" She said, "Well, it's the same day as Peter Shilton." And when she said that, I thought, this is the girl for me. You know, this is definitely the girl for me, because if she knows that Peter Shilton has the same birthday as her, this is mad. When would a girl ever say that to you? You know what I mean? I'm off the same birthday as Peter Shilton. You'd be like, what? So yeah, so you know, we talk about football all the time, so it's great, you know, and our life is all around football, isn't it, and vlogging and blogging, and you know, it's wonderful. We're having a wonderful time. You know, we're having a wonderful time enjoying, you know, being holiday making football fans. So yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be amazing to see your video and get see what you got up to down here as well, Lee.
Yeah, see what we think of Bournemouth.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll love it.
Bournemouth's a shithole. We want to go home. That's what we won't be singing that to you. I can assure you, we'll find the joy in it. You know what I mean?
We haven't got as many rides down here as you have.
Well, you don't. It doesn't matter, honestly. It's you meet the people, and you know, you go to places, and you just, I don't know, if you enthusiastic about people's places and where you go, and then they give it you back. And you know, I do believe as a football vlogger, you know, you make friends with people, and you know, you try and make friends with stewards when you're in, have a bit of a laugh with them, and all, you know, and get people on your side. And I think it's really important, and it's opened my eyes as it's opened your eyes. You know, we've gone to places. The only team in that I can say, the one team the one place I've hated, and honestly, I'm so glad they got relegated and we don't have to play him. Rotherham is just the most miserable place, the most miserable people, the most miserable stewards. Oh God, they were unbelievable. Jane, you know, they had like a dog, like a sniffer dog when you go in. Yeah. She loves dogs. She has a dog on every video. She went to don't touch the dog straight off. You know what I mean? It just set it on the right. You know, there's no like. We went to Reading and in the cup, and when we got there, you know, the stewards, they're greeting you. Oh, you know, the steward said to her, "Oh, you're looking lovely today. I do like the coat and all that." And straight away you think, what a bloody nice place this is. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of a friendly smile. It doesn't need a lot, but honestly, you go to Rotherham, it's like going into like Stalag 19, Stalag 17. You know what I mean? It's just, you think there's like barbed wire going around. It's horrible. It's just, God, it's so bad. And the stadium, Rotherham Stadium, the New York Stadium, it's actually nice. It's actually, and we were thinking, oh, it's really, we like the design. It's a bit quirky, and they had like disabled facilities that were up in the middle of the stands. So all the disabled fans are on like a balcony, all with the wheelchairs. Not Bloomfield Road. They sat around the edge of the pitch, can't see a bloody thing. You know what I mean? Down and getting rained on and everything, because it's like the place where the rain gets under this, you know, because if you're right at the front there, you do get wet, don't you? No matter how big. So that's how our disabled fans are. And I was filming at the time. I was filming just saying, oh, look at this. It's, you know, what a wonderful ground. This bloody, you know, this Jobsworth old woman came up to me. You can't film here, you know, there's somebody over there seeing you film. You got to turn that off right now. And I said, well, I'm just trying to show people what a lovely ground you are. No, honestly, they were just so fucking miserable. They really were. So, you know, I give it them full full pelt in the end of the video as well, because I honestly hated it, honestly. And yet Doncaster, who are just literally down the road from Rotherham, they're the friendliest. The stewards, we went in and they saw their camera guy came and said, "Oh, we got this fan zone down here. Can I take you down? Show you, we show you taking penalties." And this girl Claire came over to us and she was telling us all about, how they won the fans award for the best, Even went to Bristol City. It was lovely, and they have I don't know if you've been to Bristol, but I advise you to go if you haven't been, because Bristol's fabulous. If you watch the video, it's fab. But that fan zone outside, I don't know what you're like at Bournemouth, but you have to go inside, like the outskirts of the ground. You kind of have to go through there to get in. But once you're in, you can't get out. But then they got a band playing outside. They got fish and chip bars. They've got this amazing sports bar that's just like unbelievable, and just everything is there to entertain. There was like a Sky game outside. They had Sky there with a big screen, and they were doing games with people. And it was just honestly, it was buzzing. And people were in there at like 1 o'clock. Never mind getting there for 3. They were in early. It was buzzing at 1 o'clock. And I'm thinking, how much money they're taking here? You know what I mean? There's people buying, spending money everywhere, and it was all for the fans, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about us.
Yeah, definitely. I know Bristol City are very, very well organised club, actually.
Yeah, brilliant.
From even I believe even their TV channels are really, really well done. So they're a club that off the pitch are on the up. Are you going to do one of these videos for Preston, Lee?
The football tour.
A day out in Preston.
Well, we might call it just on Jane. If you've ever been to Preston train station, it's like the worst train station in the world. It's just so grim. It's so horrible. So when she did her virtual away days last season, where she was like pretending to go and obviously doing a pub crawl and everything virtually, she had to go through Preston, obviously in the blog. So in her blog, she actually decided that they'd rebranded Preston, done it all up. The station was like amazing, and called it Blackpool East. So it's no longer called Preston Station, it's Blackpool East. So maybe when we go to Preston, we'll say we're going to Blackpool East, not actually to Preston. But there is a few things out and about Preston that would probably be okay that are not quite. And of course, we can always do the Pleasure Beach, because it's only 17 miles down the road. So
exactly,
we don't necessarily have to go to Preston to enjoy Preston. So we'll see. There's a few places. There's a few places like on the outskirts of Preston that maybe we might go to. I don't know, but no, there's not a lot. You can't do a football tourist guide to Preston. You've got well, really, most clubs, if they are playing Preston and the fans are staying over, they tend to come to Blackpool.
It would make sense.
Same as Fleetwood as well. When they had fans, or they get big attendances because the if you're playing Fleetwood, you basically Fleetwood is in Blackpool anyway. You know what I mean? It's just the end of it's the back end of Blackpool, but Fleetwood is Blackpool postcode and everything. So they are in Blackpool. So it never felt like a derby, because you felt like you were playing Squires Gate or something. It just felt like we'd always played them as like they were like the bottom tier Fleetwood before Andy Pilley took them over. So whenever we did a pre-season with Fleetwood, it was just like us against a pub team, literally. So we're glad we've got our derby back. It's a derby game for us, so it's a big thing. Whether we'll do we'll have to do the football tourist guide. We'll have to do for Preston. But
that'd be worth watching.
It might not be. We'll go to the world's largest bus station.
Yes, you have to do it. You have to do it, Lee.
There's not a lot in Preston to really.
Or get a bus into the world's largest bus station.
Into the block on.
There you go, guys. So Poole bus station is not the largest bus station in the country, even though it's a large bus station, but it's not the largest.
It's their claim to fame. I think it's the biggest bus station in Europe. I mean, they're proud of it.
Imagine that as a claim to fame.
We've got Europe's biggest bus station. It's just, it's grim. It's
it's like our friends down the M27. They've got the biggest Sainsbury's in the you know, well, I don't even know if it's in the same in the whole country, but in the south, yeah. Who cares about Sainsbury's? You can get the same in all of them. Lee, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Go on, score prediction, aren't you?
Yeah. You know what I'm going to say. Score prediction. How do you think it's going to go?
I'm going for. I'm going to go for 4-0 to Blackpool.
4-0 to Blackpool.
4-0 to Blackpool. Yeah, that's it.
There you go. Well, seeing as you're going for 4-0 for Blackpool, I'm going to go 4-0 for Bournemouth.
Okay.
How about that? What do you reckon?
Let the best team win.
Yeah.
I'll take a 1-1 draw tomorrow. Go on, I'll put it 4-0. Why not? I'm gonna.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be optimistic, haven't you? Let's be honest. But no, honestly, mate, it's great to have you on, and to go through so much history. Normally, these videos are only half an hour long. Normally, they're off. But I'll tell you what, this.
Can't off talk.
No, honestly, mate, it's been absolutely amazing. Made my job easy.
Yeah, of course it was. Yeah, of course it was. What was it? 1 hour 44 minutes. By the way, to your subscribers, if you're still watching this now, you need to get a life. It was 1 hour 44 minutes of me rattling on, but it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it. We're really
honestly, mate. Likewise, and it is great to see you back in the Championship, mate, because it's been such a long time. You've had, well, I say such a long time, it's been 6 years, but it's been a horrible time, like you say, where Blackpool fans have had not a penny more, where you've had to boycott the club because of some terrible ownership. And finally, well, you've been to hell and back, haven't you, really? You've been right down to League Two and managed to get yourself back in this position. What date was it that the court it was all resolved? I bet it sticks in your mind.
It was 2019. I can't remember the exact date of it now, to be honest. It was it would be in about the February, I think, of 2019. February, I think it was. I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest. You put me on the spot. But yeah, it was just it took like a couple of months after that before we actually officially came back, because there was all sorts of rumors going on that they could get the club back. There was a little rumor that they could settle the debt that they owed and get the club back, and there was a big fear that was going to happen, and so fans wouldn't go back until it was actually 100% nailed on. They were gone.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was the homecoming day. And I remember, if you actually watch my video, I get a little bit upset because Colin Murray, I was listening to on like radio on TalkSport, I think it was. He was on TalkSport, Radio 5 Live, anyway, whichever. And he was saying, because he'd followed Blackpool quite, he'd followed the story, and he was saying that when those fans actually get back to the ground and they get to those turnstiles, and instead of like turning their backs and walking away, they hear the the click 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 of the turnstiles as you go in. They'll know it will be so emotional. And I started talking about it actually on the video. I was getting to the ground. I started filling up. I couldn't say it. I started breaking down a little bit because we were walking in all this big parade. And I was just talking about Colin Murray, and when I'd heard him say it kind of made me cry in the car. And then when I started to tell it again, I started filling up. It was really bad. And I thought, God, this is a big moment in my life that we're going back in. And it was wonderful. The Blackpool fans had arranged it. We have a local ice cream company called Nutriani's Ice Cream, and they had decided, well, the fans and them, we decided we were going to have, not only were we going to come back to the ground, but we're going to have jelly and ice cream outside the ground. So they come with like tons and tons of like tangerine jelly, and obviously Nutriani's ice cream is just white. There's only white. There's only like vanilla flavor. There's just one flavor, and it doesn't have any different flavors. So it was just white ice cream, tangerine jelly, and they were queuing for miles, and it was just like the jelly and ice cream party that we all had outside, and it was just, honestly, it was incredible. And for anybody who hasn't seen it, there is a video on YouTube, not on my channel, but on somebody I know. He's on Wildlife and Birds or something, his channel, because it's his girlfriend's channel. But he was on the pitch and he filmed for 6 minutes us singing before the game started. And if you look for it, it's called Blackpool Fans Chanting or something. It's 6 minutes long, and if you watch that, you will know what. You will never watch a video like it. I swear to God, it's the best fans cheering video ever. It goes on for 6 minutes. We never stop. We were singing, we got the oysters out like we said we would. It's just, honestly, it's phenomenal. It's just incredible. The whole stadium, and that song. We actually played Accrington Stanley was the first game away, so our home game, but the first one was away, and that song started at Accrington Stanley, and a lot of the fans. There's only we took like 1,500 to Accrington Stanley. We've got like 16,000 in, so loads of people didn't know it, but it builds and it builds as everybody starts to get the words and people start joining in, and the whole thing is bloody magnificent, honestly. And you'll just see how much it actually meant to Blackpool fans on that day. It was just, it's called the Homecoming Day, and it'll never be forgotten. It will never be forgotten. The whole thing will never be forgotten. We've built we have across the road, some fans have taken over a working men's club, and it's now the Armfield Club after Jimmy Armfield. It's the Armfield Club, and it's just Blackpool, from like 3 floors of just Blackpool memorabilia. It's absolutely fantastic, and they're building a room at the back, which hopefully I'm going to be doing shows out of there as well, live after the game, which I'm really looking forward to. But it's not done yet. But it's going to be called the War Room, and it's going to depict like the whole story of of the the fight, the years up until the 1953 Cup final, which was our greatest moment up until the Premier League with Stanley Matthews, and the Morty scored the hat-trick and everything else to come back from Bolton, the most famous FA Cup ever. And then from there it's then going to timeline our war against the Oysons, finishing off with the homecoming, and it's going to go around the whole walls, and they're having glass panels in the floor which will have all memorabilia in that you can watch. It's going to be amazing, honestly. And so that's all being made, but that's the fans that have made that. It's fantastic. So
it's an absolutely amazing story. Absolutely amazing story. And it, like I say, it's great to have you back after what was going to hell and back. We've been there. We've been on minus 17. We nearly went out of the league. It was awful. And, in a way, we can understand exactly what Blackpool fans were going through. We were fighting for our club.
Sure.
When I first moved down here, it was, everybody must have thought I was mad. Why are you supporting this? Or why are you supporting this team that's not going to exist? If they go, because I don't think we would have. I don't think we would have. There was a point when Jeff Mostyn was told either to nod or shake his head by Gerald Krasner, whether or not he was going to put any money in. If he shook his head, that was it. The club would be liquidated. End of all that history.
Is that close? Yeah. It's honestly, and it's terrible. It's like I obviously go on shows now, and I'm talking to other fans, and like they've had football like for all these years. What I mean? It's just football's never been away for them, has it? I literally had 5 years. I just walked away. I hardly even looked at what Blackpool were playing. I didn't watch any football. I just completely I had to just go away from it. So I've had people talk to me about like players, and I've never heard it. I just didn't watch. I just like football died for me, and it's weird. It's as if I got hit by a car and we've been in a 5-year coma. I woke up and I don't know anything that happened in those 5 years because I just don't know anything, and people, I have a few fans on my channel say, oh yeah, there was a player came on for Middlesbrough, and I said, oh, this lad's a big unit coming on here on the video. And Ryan Dunbar comes on my channel all the time. I said, oh yeah, he played for Blackpool. Did you not remember him? He was like, so what year did he play? In 2016? No, it wasn't there. Didn't even know he played for us. I never heard of him. You know what I mean? And sometimes I'm a bit embarrassed because I don't know, and the players, because I've been in a coma for 5 years and don't know anything about football at all. So it's been weird. It's been weird. It's been really weird. It's been tough, but it's been great. And you know, hopefully, you know, we get the kind of happy ending. We've got to stay up. We've got to stay up. You know what I mean? So do all this and then go straight back down would be such a shame, because it's hard to get out of that league. It's hard to get out of League One. It's bloody murder. And, you know, we're looking at it now and thinking, Jesus, look at that league now. They've got Bolton are in it. You got Sheffield Wednesday in it. You got Ipswich in it. You got Sunderland in it. It's just some big clubs down there, you know, Charlton Athletic. There's big clubs down there, and it's hard to get out of. So we're glad we got out of it. Fingers crossed we can stay in.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you, mate. And, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure. Just before you go, I just want to make you full screen, because this studio, you know, my studio, couple of pictures, the kids behind.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Is impressive. That is impressive. That's what we need to get to, isn't it?
Tell you what, you're professional, aren't you? You're professional when you do that. I'll just, you know, kind of tell your viewers what it is for anybody who wants to kind of do it. It's there's like YouTube gamer hack, they call it, for like gamer YouTubers. So basically it's IKEA cabinets on one side with an IKEA worktop, you know, kitchen worktop going across the top, 3 meter. And then I've got 2 iMacs behind, one's mine and one's Jane's, actually. So, you know, we've got one. I edit on this one here all the time. That's my one. So the beauty of it now is that, you know, I can just go backwards, you know, towards there and do my work and come back to the screen here. And I've just made all them, you know, obviously I'm a videographer, so I've made all them little, you know, the what's going on behind you. I've made them, you know, with all little backgrounds and overlays that I've put on it, and it looks, I think it looks, I'm pretty pleased with that. And it's what I've been trying to do. It's lit up with LED lights from the side, which are my DJ lights, because you know, I've been a DJ as well. That in the background in the corner there is you know, those LED twigs.
Oh yeah,
that's just like LED twigs in a pot that looks quite good and looks effective. And I've got a couple of lights underneath there that are lighting up. So there's 4 lots of LED lights, but looks good, doesn't it? And then obviously I have you know, I've got proper studio lighting here in front of me, lighting me up, because I need all the help I can get with light.
Well, do you know what? You know, I've got some way to go to get sort of set up, but yeah, one day we'll get there.
This is a Shure SM58 mic, which is a DJ mic. I have 4. I have 2 radio mics, and this one, which is a wired mic over the SM58, and the audio is coming through a Rodecaster Pro.
And this headset, I pinched from work.
Well, these are excellent, actually. These are I brought me others. These are called they're not too bad, actually. They were 80 quid, the Philips ones, but yeah, they're really good quality. So yeah, you know, if you know, if any kids are watching this and are wanting to be, you know, a football vlogger, you don't need all this. You just need to just be yourself, have a bit of personality. I mean, I notice, you know, I'm talking to you and you're, you know, a bit of a stato, are you, at the end of the day? You know, you're talking about stuff, you know, all the teams, you know, all the, we're not, you know, if you watch Lee Charles TV, trust me, you are not going to get any in-depth knowledge on, you know, I sometimes watch Cod's vlogs. You know, I don't know if you watch Ben of Cod vlogs, and he's like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, but he knows, like, he'll have a team, and he'll know where the players of the opposition started off as youth, what he can kind of go through all the players and say where they've played before. We just say what we see. That's how we are. We say what we see, and there's no in-depth stuff with us, and we just have fun. You know, that's for me. That's what it's all about. Go on holiday, do an holiday vlog, you know what I mean? Show Bournemouth, show the wonders of the world, and just, you know, and just, you know, and then you'll just get the, you know, you'll get the happiness or the misery. You know, I won't be going to, you know, I won't be at Bournemouth tomorrow, you know, on Saturday. And if we're getting beaten 4-0 or 5-0 or whatever it is. I won't be saying, "Oh, this is great," because it's Bournemouth, they're a good team. I'll be saying, "What shit," I'm playing crap. I just, I'm just Blackpool, and it's in me. And if we're losing, we're playing bad, or we're getting beat, it's because we're not playing well. And and I will admit that you're good. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I don't want to lose to Bournemouth. I don't want to lose. I want to win. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be happy that just, we're beaten by a better team and they've got more money than us, whatever. I'll be sick. So we'll see all that with us. But as for in-depth knowledge of players and stuff, it's not my thing. I just enjoy football. I enjoy the movement, the flair, the excitement, the rush of adrenaline as your team goes forward, those goals, the goal we got at Bristol City, which was in the last second of the game. That's me. That for me, that is football. You know what I mean? That emotional, just that rush that you get from those kind of goals, those last minute goals that are just just send you mental, and just seeing swashbuckling side to side. I like, players that go down the wings. I like a winger that, gets the byline, pulls it back so that ball's coming back towards the striker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're running and playing football and the guy goes down the wing and pulls the ball back at you, then you're coming in to hit a ball that's coming at you, aren't you, to bang it in. You're not looking over your shoulder to get one lofted in. You're not having to play with your back to goal and having to turn. You've just got this player that's come, past the defender, down the wing, pulls it back, bang. You know what I mean? That's for me is football. That's why I was so angry with England. God, I was mad about that England game.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, if you watch my video on England, I've had to remove some of it because I was swearing so much because I couldn't believe the way we played in that game. I would have rather England died trying to win than die trying not to lose.
Do you know what?
I mean? We played a game where we just didn't want to lose the game. We got a goal. We shut up shot. We let Italy, who weren't that good, dominate us. We never created anything. Why don't we just go and batter them 4-0? And, we could have done. We scored a goal within 10 minutes. If we'd have carried on in that way, we'd have breezed them away. And then not only that, then we get to penalties and we just put a load of kids in to lose the damn penalties. We scored 2 penalties. Honestly, I've said it many times, if Italy had played like England and we'd have played like Italy and we'd have won that game like they did and we'd have watched the team score against us, then just let us dominate, then go and put a load of kids in at the end and score 2 penalties and we win it with 3, we'd have been laughing our cocks off for the next 40 years over it, wouldn't we? We'd be saying that has got to be the easiest World Cup in the world. We played a team that just give us the game and we embarrassingly at Wembley gave Italy that game. And I honestly, I like Southgate. I'm not his greatest fan, but I don't mind him. I think he's done wonders. But he bottled that game, and we played terrible in that World Cup final and in the Euro final, and it was heartbreaking. I don't know about you, but I was.
I was absolutely gutted. I could see it only going one way once they equalised. We just didn't have any momentum behind us. We should have just gone for it.
And fail. Why lose and not try? Why?
Yeah.
If they'd have tried their socks off and they'd have played and the ball hadn't gone in, we'd had a Tomaszewski moment where they had a keeper that just pulled a million bloody saves off and they went and scored against the run of play. You'd have took it, wouldn't you? And if it had gone to penalties and we'd have lost on the 10th penalty and it had gone on and we'd have scored 5, they'd scored 5 and it was sudden death and we lose, but we didn't get any of that. We just gave Italy the Euro final. So there you are, lads. Thanks a lot. We'll just break every kid's heart in England. We'll not try. We'll have the whole country was ready for a day's holiday, weren't they? We're at Wembley.
Yeah.
We played so well in the game before, and it was just shit. Absolute rubbish. And I just I still haven't got over it. Now you can tell. I can.
No, to be honest, I don't think. Well, until we actually win something, I don't think I will. Which, well,
It
when's
was
that
our
going to
greatest
be?
chance. It was our greatest chance. I mean, we had a
Yeah.
great chance in the World Cup. Let's be honest. You know, we had a brilliant chance. All the big teams have fallen out, and Brazil had gone, and Argentina had gone, and you know, just everybody. All the big teams had gone, aren't they? All we had was Croatia standing in our way, and we were beating them, and then we just second half we didn't change anything. We carried on with the team that was just, I don't know, they made a change, Croatia, didn't they? And we just didn't react to it, and you could just see it coming, couldn't you? But honestly, the Euros was worse than that because we were at Wembley. We were 1-0 up. We set off like an house on fire. It was a glory goal, wasn't it? I mean, it was a great.
Oh yeah.
I mean, compare our goal to their goal. Do you know what I mean? Our goal was like, it was like a dream, wasn't it? It was like, he hit it like a rocket. You know, the run to get there, the goal, Italy. Well, basically, it
was scrappy, wasn't it?
It was terrible. It was like the worst defending you've ever seen in your life. And then the penalties were just like, they're just a joke.
I don't know why you put a 19-year-old to take the 5th penalty. Well, where was Sterling? Where were
the big players? Yeah, where were the older players who should take responsibility? But also, why bring players on with like a minute to go to take penalties when they're not in the game? You know, you can't. It's very hard. You know, I can't have a go at Rashford because he never got to touch the ball before he took a penalty. So he's not in the game. He's not in the moment. He's not. You know, he's not invested in it. You know, he took off experienced players. He brought. Who was the other one he brought on? Sancho, was it? Was the other one?
Yeah.
Sancho. Another one that, you know, never got to touch the ball. Then he's taking a penalty, and then we finish off with a young 18-year-old kid taking the most important penalty in the history of penalties at Wembley. I mean, you couldn't make it up, could you?
No.
What would go through his head to think that's a good idea? I'll tell you, that's a good idea. That's a really great idea. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just throw it away. Let's just throw it away. And I mean, I've said this loads of times as well, like nobody ever misses a penalty against England, do they? We always have to miss. It's like Germany will, you know, if we played 500 penalties, they'd score them all. They'd never miss one, Germany, would they? No. And whoever we play never misses a penalty. And we get them, you know, we save 2 penalties and we can't score 3. You know what I mean? It's like, God's sake. You know, and all the pressure is on. If Rashford gets that penalty, and I don't know what he did, and I don't know why he did it, and I just don't get the penalty he took. It was a garbage penalty, but it nearly went in, didn't it? But if that goes in, we'd win it because the pressure on them then would have been unbelievable. They'd have had to score to stay in it, wouldn't they? It just changed once he missed, and then they scored. Then they've got all the advantage, and everything swings. And it was that Rashford penalty, and I just wish somebody else would have took it, not him just coming on. But I can go on about it forever, but it's gone. We haven't won it, and once again, we just, you know,
you never know.
They just
next year.
That's not football, is it? To me, it's not like how, you know, I'm sure, you know, if Bournemouth tomorrow get a goal in like the first minute and then decide to just back off and defend against Blackpool and let us back in the game, you'd be going mental.
Oh, God.
The fans would be going absolutely bloody mental. You wouldn't believe what you were watching, would you? You're thinking, what the bloody hell are we doing here? What's this manager doing? And that we watched this England game, and that's what he did, wasn't he? He just did that, and just terrible.
Well, see, this was the conversation I had with Mr. Dorr, and you know what Nottingham Forest do, and they just sit. You know, Houghton is a very pragmatic coach, and just sits on leads, and it's not working. Whereas last season, we sometimes did that. Towards the end of Eddie Howe's reign, we did that. You know, the early Eddie Howe would just go for the juggler all the time, and I think that's what Scott Parker's doing. So,
it's painful, isn't it, when your team starts sitting deeper and deeper and deeper, and you can feel, can't you? You can feel them getting on top of you, and then all of a sudden you start like hitting it anywhere, and the ball's coming back in, and you're thinking, "Oh my God!" It's just like, honestly, it's like the Alamo, isn't it? Nobody wants to watch that football, do they? So,
no.
It sounds like you've got it right down there. Sounds like you've got it going well. So,
fingers crossed.
But we are going to win 4-0. So.
Well, you never know. You never know. I'm going for a 4-0 win. You're going 4-0 Blackpool. One of us might. I don't think either of us will probably be right, but hey ho.
I think you've got more chance.
Yeah. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure, Lee.
Thank you.
2 hours and 8 minutes and counting, and like I say, it's great to have you back.
We're all women nattering that's what it's all about.
Well, that's what it's all about. That's what is great about these shows and what I enjoy doing. And
I've always done my interviews. I started them off as a coffee and rollies, and the idea was just to sit down with somebody and just basically have a chat. Just have a coffee chat. You know what I mean? It's just that's it, and it's just dead easy, isn't it? Just like you're talking with your mates in a pub, and that's how it should be in it. Because hopefully, people watch this and subscribe to this guy's channel because he puts a lot of hard work into it. And
likewise, I think your channel is fantastic. Really good. You got a really good setup there, and I appreciate it so much, Lee, for you coming on.
It's been a pleasure, honestly, a pleasure. I've enjoyed it. So
yeah, and likewise, mate, as well. But yeah, all the very best. And I tell you what, we do raw reaction videos as well. So if you're up for it, come on after the game as well.
When is that? Because we're in Bournemouth. Don't forget, we're in Bournemouth. So.
Oh no, it'll be a couple of days after anyway. I'll give you a bit of time.
We might well do that. I've got a lot of work to do because these.
Yeah, don't you worry.
I've taken on this football tourist guide, and I'm starting to think maybe I've. They do take me 3 days to put them together. You know what I mean? They can't.
Yeah.
I can't get them out as quick because there's just so much that we film, and I've got to, you know what editing's like. It takes a lot to find the bits that you want, and I'm always pulling a stupid face at the right time when I want to say something. So I have to shoot loads of B-roll to put over the top of all the things I do wrong when I'm doing a video. So yeah, covering up all the mistakes and stuff. But yeah, my ums and ahs and all that kind of thing. But it's been great. And you did manage to get a word somewhere in there, didn't you, Craig? I think somewhere along.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did from time to time. Thanks so much, Lee.
Never have him on again. Right.
No, we'll have you on all the time, Lee.
All right, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot, and all the best to Bournemouth, but for Saturday, of course, all the best to you. And I'm pretty sure.
And likewise,
I think you guys will get promoted. I'm pretty sure. So this is your season. So.
And likewise, I really hope you can stay up because it's a fantastic story and lovely fans, lovely place to go to. So
we're friendly up north.
Yeah.
Up in the north, we're friendly.
Yeah. So, I'm sure you'll do it, mate. But all the best, Lee. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on, and don't forget to subscribe to both of us. Really, just
do
us a sub because it makes us all happy, and give the video a like. That's the most important thing, isn't it? Likes on the video, because likes, YouTube algorithm, however it works, it likes people to like things. Even thumbs down, like, don't mind them either. They're as good as thumbs up. It just means your auntie and your granny are not the only ones watching the video. If you get thumbs up down, because your auntie's going to give you loads of thumbs up, isn't she? But thumbs up, it's just your family watching it half the time. But anyway, you get loads of thumbs downs. It'll be who's your rivals, Bournemouth? Who's your team that you hate?
Southampton. Yeah, so it'll be a Southampton.
Oh, Southampton, yeah. So
it'll be all those
Southampton fans will be thumbing you down, won't they? That's that's the way I always think of it. I always think it's knobbers when I get thumbs down. So
come on, Southampton fans, give us some thumbs down.
Come on, give me some stick. To be honest, you won't be any Bournemouth fans are going to give you thumbs down. It's just the opposition.
No, exactly.
So it's good. It's all good. Thanks a lot.
A pleasure.
I've got to get off to bed soon because we're up in the morning early traveling to bloody Bournemouth. So
I better let you go to sleep. All the best, mate. Take care. Cheers.
Enjoy the game, everyone. Bye.
And thank you guys for joining me on this very long opposition preview. Like Lee said, please do hit the like, subscribe and the bell button to be reminded of all the videos. We'll be back with another opposition preview for the whole game and the Norwich game as well in the cup. But until the next one, up the cherries, and I'll see you then.